Hi everybody, this is Dan Stolebarger, and I'm excited to announce to you our very first, our inaugural, our number one, numero uno tour to Israel. We call it our journey through Israel, with the emphasis being Exodus, resurrection, and redemption. The dates, October 6th through the 15th. We do have a post extension that I'll get to in a second, but let me just take a few minutes to tell you what this tour is all about. We're going to begin by obviously flying into Ben Gurion, overnighting in Tel Aviv, but then it all changes. Our first stop is going to be the Dead Sea, but on the way to the Dead Sea, we're going to Tel Eilat. And again, not a site that many people go to, an amazing archaeological site, but our theme is the Exodus, and from that we're going to look over into the Negev. And remember, it was the king of Arad who denied Moses and the Israelites entrance or passage through there. So once again, we're thinking Exodus. We'll make our way to the Dead Sea. On our way there, we'll we have to stop off at Masada, and we'll go up top of Masada and we'll look out again, not only taking in the amazing sight of Herod, but what a view you have of the mountains of Edom and that whole southern Negev wilderness of Zin, sort of the place where the wanderings took place. Again, we'll be teaching and thinking about the Exodus. Now, we'll overnight at the Dead Sea. You'll have time to kind of float in the Dead Sea and all of that. But on the next day, we're going to make our way. Our first stop will be En Gedi. As you know, En Gedi, the place where David wrote many of the Psalms, where he hid from Saul and that whole scenario. But from En Gedi, we're going to Jericho. Our very first time of stopping in Jericho, our guide and driver are allowed to go with us. They have special permits. And again, the theme, Exodus, the walls of Jericho come tumbling down, as you know. So we're excited about seeing that for the first time with our own eyes. And then we make our ascent up to Jerusalem, and then there's the sights. It's Jerusalem, it's the holy city, it's the golden city. And so there's David's city, the southern steps, the western wall, the Jewish quarter, the Cardo, the Mount of Olives, the Garden of Gethsemane. I can go on. We'll go to the Israeli Museum. We'll see Yad Vashem, the remembrance of the Holocaust, remembering the names, the Avenue of the Righteous Gentiles. In our last day, we'll get to the pavement where Jesus was scourged, but also to the Garden Tomb. And we'll have a time of worship and communion. And again, the theme will be what? Resurrection. Why? Because he's not there. He's risen. Amen? And so then we're going to make our way up to the Galilee. And on our way there, we'll have a time for a baptism, kind of close to the Gilgal area where John was baptizing, most likely the spot where Jesus baptized. We'll stop at Bet Shean on the way. Again, one of those marvels of the world as far as archaeology goes. We're going to get there in time to get up on top of Mount Arbel, so that we see that panoramic view of the Galilee, that we can identify that northern section where Jesus called 11 of his 12 disciples and really called home. Well, while we're in the Galilee, again, much like Jerusalem, a lot to do. We'll see Magdala, a brand new site, first century synagogue. We'll be at Capernaum, the Beatitudes. We'll have a boat ride with our friend Daniel Carmel out on the Sea of Galilee. We'll go up to Caesarea Philippi. We'll be at Mount Bental on the Golan Heights looking down into Syria. And we'll end our time at the Galilee at a little beach on the northern side of the lake. That's called Tabcha. And this is why it's redemption. Exodus, resurrection, and redemption, because it was on this little beach. Let me remind you, when Jesus was resurrected, he told the women, Go tell my disciples and Peter to meet me in the Galilee. We're going to go to that beach where Jesus met his disciples, where he fixed breakfast for them, and where Peter was restored. Always a high point, I know, at least for me. And then on that last day, we're going to make our way to Mount Precipice, where we'll see Nazareth as an overlook. We'll be at the far end of the Jezreel Valley, or the Valley of Armageddon. And of course, we'll see Mount Carmel. We're going to have a farewell dinner at the port of Caesarea Maritima. And then that group, if they choose to just be a part of the first, we'll drop them off at the airport. And then the extension begins. The extension will be from October 15th through the 21st. And it's southern Israel. And it will include Eilat as well as Petra. So what will we do on the extension? Well, we'll stay at Bet Yam that very first night after we drop people off at the airport. And the next morning, we'll get up and we'll go to Ashkelon. And from Ashkelon, we'll take in Sderot. You know, that's the area that's been under attack by Hamas. Ashkelon's a seaport. It's one of the 5 cities of the Philistines. It's an amazing place to be. Sderot, as you know, is that little village that's received so many of the rockets. And we're there to pray. And we're there to support the Christians that are in that area that are ministering to the Jewish people. There's so many of them that are suffering from post-stress or post-traumatic stress symptoms and things like that. But you know what? We must be there. We must take a stand. And the one thing that we will do is that we will pray. And then we're going to go to Beersheba one day. And again, when you think Beersheba, think Abraham, think the 7 wells. Again, most tours don't have the time to get here. We're going to take in, we're going to remember that pathway that Abraham took from the Ur of the Chaldeans, that he made his way through the mountains of Judea and Samaria. And, you know, hometown for him is Beersheba. And then as we travel to Eilat, it's gorgeous in Eilat. Red Sea, think Red Sea. But on the way, we'll go to the Mitzvah Ramon crater. We'll see Timnah, a place where there's a wilderness tabernacle that's set up. We have a dear friend, Allison, and I promise you she's going to rock your world with the parallels and the correlations between Yeshua, Jesus, and the wilderness tabernacle. It's a memory, believe me, you'll never forget that. Some solitude times out in the desert at Solomon's Pillars. And then that next day, we're on the Red Sea. We're going to take a day trip to Petra. Again, the place of refuge, one of the 10 wonders of the world. It's amazing to see this place that God will preserve his people, his remnant during the tribulation period. And on that last day, or the next to the last day, barbecue on a yacht, Red Sea. It'll be a free day. It's just a great, relaxing time. And then on the last day, as we head back to the airport, we got some surprises for you. And I'll just leave it at that. But we just want to invite you to be a part of our very first Holy Ground Explorations Tours. Sharon and I are so excited about this new ministry, and we want to invite you to be a part of that first time. Our dear friend Jane Benary is going to guide for us, and of course Yossi will be our bus driver. It's sort of like, let's get the gang all back together, and if you've never been, you gotta come. So with that, remember, October this fall, join us as we travel through Israel. Consider that extension that will take you to Petra as well as all the way to the very bottom, where when you stand with your feet in the Red Sea, you look to the right and you see Egypt, and you look to the left. If it's a clear day, you can see all the way down to Saudi Arabia, but you'll look right into Jordan. It's an amazing, amazing tour, and we hope that you'll join us. God bless you, and may he give you his shalom.